Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to my LinkedIn Live. I don't often do these LinkedIn Live interviews, but I had to do this one because Rhett Power is with me today. And you might have seen Rhett Power is a contributor to Forbes. He's really cool. You probably see me sharing his stuff. So Rhett, welcome. Welcome to the LinkedIn Live. For people who don't know you, tell everybody what you do and what you're all about.
Well, thank you, Samantha. And first off, I thank you for having me on your program. It's a real pleasure. I run a company called Accountability Inc., which is a global executive coaching and leadership advisory. It's sort of a startup, not sort of a startup advisory for founders and startups that are trying to scale. So we do the coaching part and we do the advisory part. All the people on our team are longtime entrepreneurs. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I had a few startups over the last 25 years and done well on a couple of them not so much, but that's all part of the learning and why we are actually unique in the space of helping very specifically entrepreneurs who are growing and scaling and helping them put the right systems and processes in place so that they can do that.
And do you know what? I love that because, so I see people sometimes advising entrepreneurs, and they've never been an entrepreneur themselves. And I think the fact that you've done it, you've been there, done that, you've been on the roller coaster, you've had the knocks and all of that. I think that helps a lot. So, I'd say that helps a lot with your experience and sharing your knowledge with these people. So, you actually shared a really good article there. I felt it was lovely anyway. Four priorities businesses must master for 2025. And so we're going to talk about that today. So anyone who's watching, by the way, we have 34 people watching at the moment. Hi, everybody. If you want to ask a question to Rhett while I have him here, we're very lucky to have him here. Um, Mel has said afternoon. Hi, Mel. Mel is joining us from the UK. So this is going to be a global audience, Rhett. Okay. So definitely, if you
Excellent.
have a question, we will put it to Rhett and we will highlight it on the screen. So do comment if you want to. So, Rhett, you've got four business priorities. This was featured in Forbes. You're a contributor to Forbes. So well done on that. And I do like your articles. But this one kind of caught my attention because it was just at the start of the year, four priorities that businesses must master for 2025. And the first one you mentioned was optimizing your transportation logistics. Tell me why you put that one first and why it's so important.
I actually don't know that there were a particular order to this. I think it probably just because it popped in my mind at first because I started my one of my first companies was a toy manufacturing company, and logistics and shipping and moving product from one place to another globally was you know such a key part of the business. And that's not changed. I think you know look, this the we're going through a massive shift.
Mm,
We're in a seminal moment in time with technology, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But there's so much that you have to pay attention to that I think you can't forget about simply moving your product from one place to the nut to get it to your customer and doing that efficiently and effectively. And so that's why it's on my list because with prices the way they are and shipping the way it is and logistics the way that it is, you can actually, I mean, it's faster today than it was, even when I first started. So I do think it's something to really pay attention to because I tie it to the customer experience.
mm,
And whether you're just shipping across town or whether you're, a global company shipping, containers, how you deliver your logistics and your product to your customer is really, really essential. And to me, optimizing that, I always talk to my clients about that sort of Amazon experience. It's very simple at the very beginning. You click it like two or three times and it's on its way. And I think if you can simplify that experience for your customer and get your logistics and optimize that, I think you can really be successful. And if you're not paying attention to it, your competitors are, and they're going
mm.
to win out because they're trying to think about how they can cut time off from order to delivery. and it really is a key customer experience CX thing that you have to think about.
Oh yeah, I'm so impatient if I order something. I want it like tomorrow, and it's like
Yeah,
they say it's going to be there tomorrow. I'm expecting it tomorrow. Like, and
100%.
I know there's a company I know in London, Optimize AI. So that might be something that people might want to check out. They're lovely company. They are a startup actually, and they are focused on this, which is quite funny. So I thought I'd give them a little shout out. And I know as well with remember that barge got stuck. What was it? A barge that got stuck in the that caused a whole lot of hassle. And during the
Yeah,
pandemic, there was a like I live by the port in Rossler Harbour.
yeah,
So I see all this, I see how busy it is, and I see what's coming in and what's going out. And it's crazy, like, especially during the pandemic, it was like really busy. So I think people realized then how important all of this stuff was. It's like, oh, is this where we
yeah.
get stuff from? Like, so
Yeah, it's super critical, right? And we all have these sort of expectations today that things are going to get there really fast, and um, it's not always possible, not with everything. I mean, we get those random deliveries sometimes that are going to take 2 weeks or 10 days to get something from somewhere.
mm,
Um, but that's not the norm now. It's not the expectation. Um, and so, I've worked with companies, global companies, but during the pandemic, you brought up the pandemic. I was working with this group of entrepreneurs who was taking on this project during the pandemic to help like little small stores figure out how to uh, like survive. It was a matter of survival at that point. And it was really funny. Like working with some smaller, we worked with this bakery in Miami and this pet grooming place up in, I think they were in Connecticut somewhere, and we helped them all rethink their business. And now the bakery in Miami is shipping stuff all over the country. The dog grooming place is now selling pet clothes and
mm,
all kinds of pet accessories globally on their channels. And so, it's also about rethinking, if you're a small business, maybe you can rethink where you sell your product, right? And expand your market without adding a store or adding a location or adding, maybe you can play off of your brand and build your brand simply by using, these delivery mechanisms now, because you can ship food, you can ship everything now. So,
yeah. Yeah, and I think one of the main things I always say to people as well, especially small business owners that might be watching, once you have Wi-Fi, you can go global. Most people, whatever their service is, they can usually do some kind of global aspect of it. Like I know two ladies,
yeah,
Deirdre and Jeanette, they have a flower school, and during the pandemic, they just started doing online flower courses, and they were
yeah,
teaching people how to do flower. And
yeah,
they ended up being really big in America. So it is amazing what's possible. So for 2025, we've got the transportation logistics, okay, optimize them. And then this is a big
hmm
one, obviously, make sustainability. The second one was make sustainability a core part of your strategy. So do you want to go into that a little bit?
yeah. I think as business owners, we've always wanted to be sustainable, right? I
Mm,
think, I mean, I don't know about the audience, but I know that every business I ever tried to build and did successfully build or failed at, um, the goal was to be there forever, right? The goal was to be sustainable, and I think that's a good goal. I think that's makes sense. I think what happened. I think the language around that today is can I do it responsibly? Can I be a good steward of the earth? Can I be a good steward of the people that are part of my organization? And I think that's probably a good thing for us to think about more and more and more. And there's a reason why I put this in here, not because it's a buzzword and not because it's actually smart business.
mm,
And right, the more anxiety that we have in society today, whether it's politics, whether it's the future, whether it's the disruptions by technology, whether it's being able to survive on, a family being able to survive and make ends meet. Um, all of that really exists today and it's all real, right? It's a real concern. And, you add in the United States, you add healthcare and other things that we don't have like you have, then it adds another layer of anxiety. And so I think it's smart business. So when I talk about sustainability, I'm thinking about how do I not only does my product and my company is it around for the long haul, can I keep my people? Can I retain my talent? Um, can I recruit easily because I'm a good organization to work for? Do I
Mm,
take care of people in a way that I know comes back to me because they start taking care of me? And I've seen that firsthand in the businesses that my successful businesses, that the team took care of the organizations just as much as we took care of them. So that's what I'm talking about. It's really a focus on the culture and how you lead and manage and and how people in the business respond, which means that your customers are going to see that, right? Because it's I can walk into a business now and you can see one that's well run and
mm,
well managed, and people are happy to be there or they're engaged, and you can see the ones where that's clearly there's dysfunction and it's not well managed, not well run. um, so to me, it's all about sustainability. In my view, is about looking at that as a whole, sort of holistically looking at the business from a sustainable standpoint, because I actually think that actually ensures longevity if you take care of those things.
yeah. Yeah. And if anyone has any questions about that, please do put it in the comments. We have 106 people watching. Thank you so much, everybody,
Excellent.
for tuning in. You're so good. I don't know if you're on the commute home or what time it is where you are. Let us know where you're joining from. Definitely, you mentioned the workforce there. So, a resilient workforce. That
Hmm.
was number three of your four priorities. So, um,
Hmm.
kind of mentioned that already, but what is it that people should be doing? Like it's what, February now, so any advice for people out there?
Yeah, look, you have to be intentional about building a resilient workforce takes effort. It takes work.
Mhm,
It takes concentrated effort at that. It is absolutely essential today. I know that um, there's a very the language is changing in business now because of at least in the United States, because of American politics. But I think um, we have to pay attention to our people. We have to take care of people. We have to give them clarity. Um, right. If they understand what they're working on and how that impacts the mission of the company, what their role is in the company and what they're supposed to deliver, if they have clarity on all those things, and then they see that the leadership is living into the stated values. Every company, most companies have a value statement and they have a mission statement and they have these nice values written up on the wall somewhere or in some piece of paper somewhere. But if people see that the leadership of the company is not living into those values or leading with those values, um, and they see that the management doesn't really care about them, that they're a number. If that's the way people feel, then you're not going to have a resilient workforce. You're not going to have a team that's engaged. And I think resiliency comes from team engagement. A team that is engaged, that's all in, where you have a got your back culture, not a watch your back culture. Um, then
mhm.
then that is a team that's going to be resilient.
And Imelda has said clarity is key to employees. So Imelda is an IT recruitment consultant. So yeah, you'd know all about that, Imelda. And yeah, I just you can see it. You're right. You can see it if you go into companies, and I will purposely not go into a certain place if I know that I don't feel like the staff are happy, and I will go to the place where I think it's run well. So it's so true. The next one, the last one, which I thought was interesting, was harnessing technology. Uh, and so I think you've said this
Yeah.
every year for the past 10 years. So harnessing technology.
Yeah.
Would you like to speak about that a little bit?
Yeah, I look, I mean, I think obviously AI is on everybody's mind, and people are. It's the topic of every conference I go to, and I go to one practically every
Mm,
week. Um, you know, but I think it's true in this case. I think we're in a seminal moment in time. I think we're in this massive transformative period where we we are going to be rethinking how we work, what work means, um, what jobs are what are the jobs of the future. I've got two boys in university. Are they studying the right thing to actually be able to survive? Uh, I don't take a dystopian view of it, though. I actually am encouraged by where we're going technology wise. I think it's going to massively transform work, though, and I do think that that means that there are going to be societal shifts. I do think that we need to think about universal income and healthcare, and I do think that and job retraining and job rethinking and helping people make those transitions, because I do think that in the next few years, I think there's going to be a human job, and then there's going to be a technology job, and I think technology is going to have a place in the org chart, and I think we're going to have AI staff members that do things like, let's say, if you're in accounting, if you're in legal, if you're in some very, very not repetitive, I don't want to say repetitive, but if you're in a job that is uh, where it could be done ultimately by a computer or by technology, I think it will be.
mm,
Um, there's things like payroll and legal contracts and things like that. That's all going to be done by AI. So, where does it leave people? I think it leaves people in human type things, leadership, strategy, uh, management. Right? It's gonna lead. I think there are going to be certain things that people do really well, and certain things that AI and technology does really really well, does better than humans. Um, so I do think that there's a total rethinking coming. So why I put that in there is that I think you seriously as a business owner, and again, this I don't care if you're the corner bakery or doing working in 35 countries and our global business. You have to think about the way that this is going to happen. And I was just working with a client down in Miami, and one of the things that we're doing with them is putting together a team. And this is a fairly sizable business, but they're putting together a team of people to help keep the business focused on those changes and those shifts, and whose sole job is to be looking at technology, looking at what's coming, how that applies to that particular business in that particular industry, so that they can stay ahead and relevant and not get uh, disrupted by a smaller player. So I think if you're not thinking about it,
mm.
you're putting your business in peril.
Absolutely. And I often get frustrated, even seeing business owners and they would say, well, I don't need to be on Facebook or whatever, and sometimes I get frustrated because I would see opportunities like, for example, I see boutiques on Instagram, selling women's clothes. Now,
Mhm.
I like to dress well and show up at events, and where if there was a boutique that sold nice women's suits, I want to see them on LinkedIn. I don't want to see them on Instagram. I want to see them on LinkedIn. Like, I don't see a boutique on LinkedIn selling workwear clothes. So if there's anyone watching, please, that has a boutique, start putting it on LinkedIn, because we need
Good
you.
idea.
We need you, and sometimes I see things like that, beauty as well. And like I'm 53 now, so it's getting harder to look good, like, so it's like, we need a bit of help, like, so, I just feel that look out, think outside the box, get ahead of your competitors. You're so right. And the small guys can get ahead of the bigger
Oh, yeah.
guys, you know, because we're seeing it more, we're paying attention to it more, but that personal human touch that we have as well is really powerful. So, just
Mhm.
because you have a big competitor, Doesn't mean you can't get ahead of them, I feel. But I just want to say hello to anyone who is watching that wants to ask a question before I let Rhett go. A perfect example of harnessing technology is, funny enough, you and I being on this now, like this is LinkedIn Live. There's 115 people watching this. Um, some are my audience, some are your audience, and it's really powerful utilizing things like this as restream, to get to your audience, to engage, to for them to meet you, Rhett. And a lot of my audience might not have known about you, and they might go read your article now, and stuff like that. And I think small business owners, like even for us, like we met at the Web Summit ages ago, and then you were coming to
Mm.
Ireland, and you messaged me, and we ended up meeting, and you said we'd meet for a cup of coffee, and I was like, why don't we go fishing? So we went fishing. So anyone
We
watching,
did.
if you didn't
We
know,
did.
yeah, we went with lovely John, who brought us on his boat. Thank you, John, if you're watching. And we had a lovely day. And we actually probably got the best day of the year last year because it rained for the rest of the time, rest, would you believe? So that's valuable because now we're on this. I got read an interview in the Sunday Independent with Gina London, and it's all about connections. And I think people need to
Yeah.
realize, well, the way things are going in the world, like you and I is a perfect example. Build and nurture the relationships of the good people that you have around you.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you feel. I mean, all the events that you go to, I still see people not networking correctly. Just
Well, yeah, I mean, that's right. And um, so I can't emphasize that enough. I actually posted about that on Saturday or Sunday or of last week. It's like your network is everything, and I think today it is even more so.
yeah,
I think you have to do, and you're a master at this, and they should like come to you for help here. Um, but
thank you.
it's absolutely essential for you to build a network. I've mentioned my boys earlier, but I've got two 20-year-olds and helping them. I was just setting up my son's LinkedIn over Christmas, his junior in university, and helping him sort of strategize, how do you characterize yourself? How do you put together your CV? How do you put the right things on here that are going to get people's attention? And, who do you start reaching out to? And I think I hate to use the cliche, what is your network is your net worth or something like that, but
That's it.
it is absolutely important and critical. And look, you can never have enough real friends and enough, people that you can. What I love about like coming to Ireland and meeting you was um, uh, being able to do that all over the world and create these friendships more than just business. I mean, we went fishing, so now we're friends. Like we were acquaintances before, but now we're friends and know a little bit about each other and can help each other actually. And that's the thing,
Well,
right?
that's
When
yeah,
you have that genuine connection, you can help them and you feel like and you want to help them,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, but that's different. That's it, isn't it? Do you want to buy from this person? Do you want to work with this person? Do you want to? So it's like I said, I'm going to go to an organization where I know, like, and trust the person. I want to work with them, and I talk about that a lot. But I mean, even we have Mel in the audience, by the way, who is watching from the UK, and she actually. There is a payroll software, My Wage. We did a live earlier, and that is used like that is all about making streamlining the process and all of that. So there's all these great startups out there and all these great, and you're coming across them in your travels as well. There are so many things out there and so many different things. Like, we need to
Yeah,
keep an eye and keep ahead. What would you
yeah.
recommend? I know Forbes, you contribute to Forbes. Are there any other
Mhm.
things they should look out for, like publications that they should subscribe to? You have a newsletter, don't you? A LinkedIn newsletter?
I do have a LinkedIn newsletter. I write for Rolling Stone, which is really doing some interesting cultural type work right now, and that's been a lot of fun to work on some of that. Uh, I think depending on your industry, read the influencers in your industry, whoever they are. I mean, every industry's got them.
Mm,
Everybody's got industry insiders who are publishing newsletters, publishing
mm.
uh, things. So listen to the podcasts that are going to help you in your profession. Again, there's probably a podcast or two that are popular in each and everybody's kind of work.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that you would learn and gain some experience from that. Uh, and the other thing is I would say to people, y- I was at a Kajabi conference a couple months ago, and it was interesting. This grandmother in Iowa or somewhere, I can't remember where she's from, but middle of the United States, she's starting a knitting course, and now she's making $1 million a year doing live knitting kind of things, and she's grown her network of people who are interested in knitting. I mean, so just I think what somebody told me, my mentor Marshall Goldsmith told me a long time ago. He's like, get over yourself, like get out there, put yourself out there, get involved, get in these conversations, and it's the right advice, right? If you want to do something, if you want to make moves, if you want to grow a business, you got to put yourself out there, and it's we've got to get over our ego, our self-consciousness, um, about that. I mean, you and I talk probably to people all the time about promotion and self-promotion, and putting yourself out there, and it's just so important to do.
It is, and it's so important, and people are afraid to. I think one thing I say at my social media fest, I have my social media fest on the 9th of April, and we have virtual tickets as well. But just even having the virtual ticket, Rhett, was a big deal. It's like, oh my God, the amount of people that could join virtually that might be caring for an elderly parent or a young child, or it's just really
Yeah.
nice. Technology is so powerful, but also I'm going to have subtitles this year. I'm going to have
Mm.
subtitles for the people in the audience because my daughter is deaf, and actually she has 2 hearing aids and she's studying medical technology, Rash. So I'm, yes, good woman. So it's all about like your sons, the same kind of thing. You want to make sure they're going in the right track. But I think with social media fest as well, it's I always say when I start the event, okay, everybody, let's leave our egos at the door and let's have a great day and help each other today. That's all. And it starts off the event lovely, because
Yeah.
everyone's like, okay, I can relax a little bit, it's okay, I can be myself. So thank you so much, Rhett. Thank you. I'll just go over them. The 4 priorities businesses must do in 2025 are optimize your transportation logistics, make sustainability a core part of your strategy, resilient workforce, look after your employees, basically, and harness technology. So if anyone wants to go to see that article, if you go to Forbes, or if you just follow Rhett on LinkedIn, and you can subscribe to his LinkedIn newsletter and just keep an eye out for his posts. And he's also on Twitter at Rhett Power, and you're on Instagram as well, aren't you? Yeah.
Same at Rep
Okay.
Power.
So thank you so much, Rhett. Thank you for your time. And thanks everybody for tuning in. We have 137 people watching. Thanks, everyone.
Well, thank you, Samantha. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, bye. Bye, everybody.